the science of evolution. Within this project, I will be exploring the two main evolutionary parts for an organism to develop a trait, being convergent and divergent evolution, and then exploring the examples of each. Convergent evolution is the process whereby organisms, not closely related, independently evolve similar traits as a result of having to adapt to similar environments. An example of convergent structural adaptation is the similarities between two completely unrelated species, like the seal and the penguin. They both share streamlined body, which lowers the friction drag where the animals swim. Having a body that allows these animals to move without restraint is vital in order to both feed and escape being fed on. Both animals have also developed fins or flippers in drastically different ways. The seal, having evolved from a land mammal, still retains horizontal fins which they can walk on, and the penguin, although losing its ability to fly, still has wing-like fins. In both species, however, they serve the same purpose, and propel and direct the creature efficiently through the water, yet also less efficiently on land. Both species have developed a layer of fatty tissue which is used to keep the animal's core body temperature stable through an often harsh environment. Behavioral adaptations in the form of convergent evolution is shown between two completely unrelated species, the gorillas and the lions. There are several reasons why these two species have developed that behavior of an alpha male amongst their ranks. Within gorillas, having a silverback gorilla or alpha male is vital to the group's survival, as the infants of the species who are deprived of protection of an adult male are almost certain to be killed. As a tactic to prevent this, females join new groups in the absence of silverback. Within lions, the alpha male is also there to protect the group. However, every few years an exchange takes place in the leader of the tribe to maintain strength and have a strong alpha male protecting the group. This behavior is clearly developed in both species as a form of protection for females and young, and has come about in two entirely separate ways, yet extremely patriarchal societies. A physiological example of convergent evolution can be seen between platypus and snakes. Both species have independently made use of venom, however, for drastically different reasons. Within platypus, only the male are able to secrete venom. They do this through a long pointed spur which is located behind both rear legs. The venom is produced through a gland in the thigh. Reasons for developing this are most likely to do with competing for mates or breeding territories. However, a platypus may also use his venom as defense against predators. Snakes have also developed the use of venom, however, entirely for food. Snakes secrete a deadly liquid from their frontal fangs coming from the glands further back in the body. The venom quickly kills the prey. Snakes most often devour with having to develop long jaws or teeth. Within both animals, venom is provided external defense and attack, which has become vital for both species. Divergent evolution. Divergent evolution occurs when two species of the same ancestral background develop different traits to suit different environments or needs. The first example of divergent evolution that we will look at are the similarities that have been retained between the African lion and a domestic house cat, both of which have kept their retractable claws, which is an example of structural adaptation. Having retractable claws, as ones pictured above, allow cats to hunt efficiently and make it easier to catch prey. Cats' claws also act as defense against large animals that may prey on them or scavengers who compete with them for food. A physiological example of divergent evolution is kangaroos or wallabies and their close relative, the wombat. Both being Australian marsupials, they clearly derive from a common ancestor, yet since have developed drastically different traits. The kangaroo is famous for its banding movements above ground, whereas the wombat is a relatively solitary creature who lives in a large burrow underground. Both, however, have developed or at least maintained a pouch, which drastically affects the way they produce their offspring, giving birth to live joeys that reside in the pouch. blind and completely defenseless, remaining attached to their mother's nipples until they have well developed enough to begin taking short time outside the pouch. Kangaroos have a frontward-facing pouch for their young, meaning there is no possibility of jellies falling out, whereas wombat's pouch is backwards-facing, as they are a burrowing creature, and forwards-facing pouch would fill with dirt and suffocate the young. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this presentation.